Don't know how well y'all can see me. It's pretty early morning here on Santee. Got about 15 minutes before I can make a cast, but I have made it to where I'm going to start, and I'm going to stay in this area all day. There were a lot of spawning fish here in practice, and so my game plan, since it is super sunny, very clear skies today, I'm just going to do my best to sight fish all day once it gets to the point that I can sight fish. I did not catch many fish that were not spawning. Even the fish that I caught that I couldn't see during practice, most of them were probably spawning just because of the way they bit and what they were relating to. But gonna give them a hard time. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Gonna give it hell here in a minute. Since I'm probably not gonna talk much throughout the day about what's going on, just because I'll be very focused. You can see right here in front of me, we got this reed line, but there's a very small cypress tree right there. They've been spawning on those here. That's not something I've experienced before, but they seem to really like them here. So like that little one right there looks really good. Those ones right there are small. The bigger trees have them too, but it's weird. You need like a really big tree or like 2 or 3 trees together, or you need like a tiny one like that. But that's what I'm going to be focusing on, at least for the first part of the morning when I can't really see. Started my day off throwing a drop shot. I like using a wacky rig in the spring, but this area I was in had a lot of slimy algae type stuff on the bottom, and so your wacky rig would end up collecting that stuff. And I also think the fish are a lot less likely to pick the bait up off the bottom when it falls into that type of stuff, so that drop shot kept the bait up elevated a little bit to where they could eat it and it wasn't all in that gunk. Okay, fish number 1, not a very big one. We got number 1. That's a good sign. Never caught any off of that grass in practice. He bit it real soft, so I didn't know he was there at first. Number 1, hopefully 15 inches. That was a small one anyway. Okay, they will eat the popper. That is good to know. We will probably throw the popper for a minute. You know what that is. You know what that is, old Berkeley bullet pop. It's a good one. Not a great one, but a good one. So now I'm getting to the stuff that I really wanted to start on, but since there wasn't anybody around, I just fished some other stuff in the area because I knew people would be eventually coming through, and while I had eyes on it, I knew nobody was fishing the good stuff. So I'm picking up this popper. I'd seen a couple really big ones right here in practice, but I didn't know if they were spawning or what. It was hard to tell, but it seemed like a really good area to catch a big one, and you'll see what happens. for the 6-pounder. Not cool. Not cool. Stay on their fish. Oh my gosh. That was pretty brutal. Even on a fishery like Santee Cooper with a lot of big fish, sometimes you lose one of a certain size and you know that there's no way you're going to recover from that. And it's really hard to overcome that mentally. I don't think I did anything wrong with that fish. I think it was probably just hooked poorly. It felt kind of weird when I was fighting it, almost like it was hooked on the outside of the mouth, which it definitely had to have been. A fish that size on little treble hooks, it's going to jump, and it didn't even jump and it came off. So I think no matter what, whether I moved the rod in a funny way or anything, I think it was going to probably just come off. I think it's a bowfin. Dang it. It's a giant fucking bowfin. Dang it. He's probably gonna break my popper too. I should have known. Should have known. Oh, crap. I knew that spot looked like there should be a big fish living on it. This is just the wrong species. And obviously you gagged on it and the damn giant largemouth just didn't. God, stop, fish. Stop it. Hopefully he doesn't take my popper, because this is the only one I have. Okay. Let's see if I can hang on to him. Wow, this is maybe not coming back. Open your mouth. This is terrible. I don't know if we're getting this popper back. I might get hurt. I know that much. Okay, we got that. But he freaking gagged on it. Please don't hurt me. And there you go. Unhooked. Yep. Not what we want. Definitely not what we want. Dang it. So there's that crud I was talking about that was all over the bottom in this area. That's why I was using the drop shot to try to stay away from that. But I did still mix in the wacky rig some just because it's such a good bait in the springtime. Even though it was maybe not the ideal situation for it because of that vegetation, still was something I needed to keep in rotation. Pretty good one. All right. On the old general. Pretty good one. 16.5. I will be retying after this fish. We are not measuring him. My game plan for this day was to sight fish, so really these were all just bonus fish. I was pretty pleased with how the morning was going besides losing that one. Now I'm in an area, this little corner right in front of me here, you can see there's still shade on it. There were 2 or 3 really nice bed fish over here in practice. I don't know which ones were which because they weren't locked on, but I came back and fished from a long ways off with a popper and a wacky rig, and I still couldn't see, but I didn't get any to bite, so I left and then came back to check it again once the sun got a little higher and that shade disappeared. So now this is 30 or so minutes later. The sun's gotten up a little higher and I can start to see this fish. Still can't see it great, but I can see it well enough to fish for. I'm kind of hidden behind some other reeds, trying to tuck myself in here so this fish can't see me that well. I'm still further away than I would like to be able to see how that fish is reacting to my bait. But I've pitched at it with a Texas rigged craw and it doesn't really seem like it's interested in that, and the fish is kind of cruising around in pretty big circles, so a drop shot or a wacky rig is the way to go for that. So that's what I'm fishing with right here. That ain't good. Frickin' hatter. Losing some fish today. So it's now 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I've already, I think, had the bites to potentially get paid. And I lost the 2 big ones, so really I was at square one still. Normally with that drop shot, I have a really good hookup ratio, but unfortunately it came off. The fish looked like it wanted to keep biting though, so I continued to fish for it even though I had lost the fish, obviously. Oh, different fish. What the heck? That's not the right fish, that's the male. Is that even the male? I guess I'm gonna keep him out of the water and take his picture. I don't freaking know. Wrong fish. Lord have mercy. Okay, that doesn't even matter. Lost him. So I had a bunch of other beds marked, but a lot of them were fish that you couldn't sight fish for because they were up against a tree or in the shade. But I just figured I had so many of them marked that I would be able to just go to the spot and see the tree and pitch a drop shot or a wacky rig at it from a long ways off. And I went and did that for a long time, and I didn't get any of those fish. I don't know if they left, had been caught, just weren't biting, or I needed to be able to see them and actually make them mad. But anyway, I went and did that unsuccessfully, came back, and now I'm fishing for this fish again. And it's locked down, and I can almost get it to bite. I'm sitting there shaking the rod like this, and I get this fish to nose up on it so many times. I mean, tail was straight up in the air, almost sticking out of the water, and I just could not get this fish to commit. I didn't have anything else to go on at this point, and the bite was really tough, so I stuck with it, hoping that I would get this bite, because it was like a 19-inch fish, and that's something that you really can't turn down, especially in a one-day tournament. I had one stretch of trees in practice that I pedaled through, and I saw, I don't know, 15, 20 fish. Some were spawning, some weren't. So I went and fished through all that with a wacky rig and a drop shot. I didn't have a single bite, didn't see a single fish. So I just started fishing new water and throwing that drop shot around and hoping that I would land it on top of either a spawning fish or a fish that was, in that weird mood and was up there around the bank and willing to eat a finesse presentation. Holy cow. This is tough fishing. It's 12:15. I'll have to look back and see when the last time I caught one was, but it was a while. And unfortunately, he should not even be part of my bag. You want to talk about a soft bite too? Holy cow, that was a soft bite. Oh man. There we go, 16 and a quarter. In practice in this area, I only saw 2 fish that I was certain were guarding fry. When I stand up, I see a cloud of fry out in the water, and I thought they were bowfin fry, but I made a pitch at them anyway. You're about to see that. Okay, you're feisty. You're feisty. Fry gunder. Oh man, that took a while. 12:30, and we got 5 bass. Here we go, number 5. How long is you? Looking like a 17 and a half. 17 and a half. So after that, I pedaled about half a mile to an area that I had several bedfish, and when I got there, I could actually see one. And what's crazy is I had fished for so many bedfish that were sneaky and never caught one, and here I come to the most freaking obvious bed on the entire lake. Granted, it's a small fish, but he's sitting there, easy to catch, didn't take me long at all. I can't really explain why that is that way. He's not very big. He might not even be big enough to help. He looked bigger out there. We'll see. Bedfish can be hard to judge. Sometimes smaller ones look bigger and sometimes bigger ones look smaller. So since it only took me a couple casts to catch this fish, I didn't feel bad about wasting a little bit of time. It did end up helping, but only a 1/4 inch. I'm now back in the pocket that I made that long move to get to. There were a couple fry garters in here during practice that were very easy to get to bite. I did not catch them, obviously, and it also seemed like a good place to maybe find a new big bedfish that had just moved up. So I was moving around in here, looking around with that push pole. Dang, big one. That is a big one.
This was a big one. Was guarding fry, definitely, from the behavior I was seeing from this fish. Couldn't get it to bite. Well, I could get it to bite, but it would only eat the very tail end of the worm. I tried a couple different things. I threw a popper over top of the fish. I threw a prop bait over the fish. Tried a glide bait because sometimes they only want to chase something big. But I could not get this fish to go. Really tried, but wasn't going to happen.
That dang bass. I feel like it was not. But if it was, my goodness, what a bass. Gosh dang it. That's what it was. It was not a bass. Whew. Did not need any of that in my life.
The fry garters I originally went into that area for were gone, so ultimately I elected to travel back to the bedfish that I had lost first thing in the morning to see if I could try for it again before I ran out of time. When I got there, I found there were tons of fish in this area. I don't know if I could just finally see them or if they had somehow just moved up. I almost think they had just moved up because it was kind of nuts how many nice fish were in the 50-yard stretch, all right there where I had the one.
Gosh, there's fish everywhere. Got one. That sucker pulled hard as hell. There we go. I don't have much time, so not much time for filming. Gotta get some more fish. 17 and a quarter. Well, that's all she wrote. That was that was brutal. I wish we stopped fishing at like 3:30 because this pocket that I'm in, it's got them, but I just need more time. But the time is up. That's all she wrote. Yeah, I would have had a really good day if I wouldn't have lost those two fish. Of course, everybody says that, but I mean, I lost a really big one, and then like the two that I lost are bigger than anything I caught. That one was probably, it might have been 21, 22 inches. It's probably a 6-pounder on the popper. And then that bedfish that I came back here to fish for, he was pretty big too. At least 18 inches, maybe 19. It could have been bigger, I don't know. It was a nice one. And yeah, but I'm thankful for the bites that I did get. I think I had like 3 17-inchers and maybe a couple 16s, hopefully. Yeah, definitely not good enough, especially for a one-day tournament. If this was 2 days, I'd have some time to bounce back, but you know, it's fishing. Did what I thought I could do to catch a big bag, and I almost did it. So yeah, this will be good points for the going towards the TOC. So as long as I don't completely suck at the next one, I'll definitely qualify, which I knew that I had to at least, you know, catch a little limit to make sure that this trip wasn't a complete waste if I didn't do well. So anyway, yeah, didn't get to catch I got to catch one of the fish that I found in practice. Everything else was new fish. So I don't know what that means. There were a lot more fry garters than I realized. I don't know if that's like a recent development or what, but I caught, I saw half a dozen fry garters and I caught one. One of my 17 1/4 was a fry garter, so that's pretty interesting. But anyway, I'm gonna head it on back to the ramp. Hope you enjoyed the video. Not the best one in the world, but you know, we survived Santee, and the swamp tour is over. The next ones are going to be a lot more in my wheelhouse, so hopefully I can do okay at those.